Forge Master video. And in today's video, we're just going to be talking about the Substats guide. And I've already made a video about this, but it's kind of outdated. It was maybe like a month or two ago, and they did change some of the stuff. So this is going to be like an updated version of the guide and pretty much all the substats of what you need to run and what you don't need to run, because there are some very specific ones during, depending on like whatever forge you're in, primitive, medieval, early modern, modern, like all of that is like a separate section. Space, interstellar, multiverse, that's different. And then when you get a quantum, like double substats, that's a whole different section. So yeah, this video is going to really break it down to like what to get and when to get it, if that makes sense. So full substats guide, updated version. Definitely take advantage of these tips because it's going to help you progress like way quicker than most people, right? So with that being said, let's just start at the beginning. Primitive, you pretty much don't really have any substats. The first substats that you can get is from the common eggs, which I just actually got rid of my common eggs, but the common eggs are pretty much, they come very quickly. You just got to play through the invasion and then get the common eggs. But as soon as you get one of the eggs, then you get substats, and pretty much whatever substats you get for primitive, you just use anything. It really doesn't matter because primitive is going to be very quick. You'll probably end up finishing that whole forge in like less than a day, probably, and then you'll get to medieval, right? Medieval and early modern, and even modern. That's when substats kind of tend to um, that's like when you get more of the what they have to offer, like with pets, with the gear. The modern is when you start getting substats in gear. Medieval, early modern, that's where you get like common eggs and rare eggs, and then you take advantage of the best substats that you can. But when you get to modern, that's when you actually start getting substats within the gear, and that's basically where this video starts, right? So with modern, right, that is that's pretty much essentially what you get. So, like, for example, if you oh, wow, that's actually oh, wait, this is so lucky. What? Okay. Wow, that was so, so lucky. Okay, so we're just gonna be taking that. But what I want to show you here is that if you look here, this is exactly what you're gonna see, right? You're gonna see a base damage, which is like 14.9K. Obviously, modern is gonna be way lower, and then a substats, 22.1% double chance. So if we look at all of the substats, we got crit damage, chance, block, health, lifesteal, double chance, damage, like all that, right? What you want to be taking advantage of is essentially better substats over others. So, for example, for Forge, when you get Modern, Space, or Interstellar, um, typically, yeah, Modern, Space, Interstellar, all three of those Forge upgrades, this is exactly what you want to run. Uh, you don't want to run crit chance. You do not want to run crit damage. No block chance. You don't want to run any of the range damage or melee damage. Or honestly, the base damage is kind of optional, but you want to stay away from that. And then you don't want to run any of the skill damage or skill cooldown. So what you do want to run is the attack speed. Attack speed is pretty much the best thing. Honestly, probably my favorite substats because you can't really, there's no cap to it. You can't really like have any downsides to it. So take advantage of the attack speed. The base damage is also well, no, yeah, attack speed and then double chance. Double chance and attack speed work perfect together, but with double chance, don't go over 100% because there's a cap to it, right? There's a limit. Now, with double chance, if you can, try to get around 80%, 80 to like 90%. If you have 100%, like that's fine, but anything above that is completely useless. Anything around 80% is kind of ideal because then you can start going for other substats, right? But attack speed, double chance, and then lifesteal. So lifesteal works great with both attack speed and double chance because that more chances you attack faster and the more chances you attack twice, you still gain health from the lifesteal. So all three of those substats work perfect. So like just as you can see it clearly, lifesteal, double chance, and attack speed, right? That is best case scenario. If you have 100% double chance, I don't know, like say 50% lifesteal and 150% attack speed, you're probably gonna have the best substats at your forge level to complete as much of the gameplay as you can, right? Like the dungeons, the base or whatever this thing is called, like the adventure path or progress pass. I don't really know. But anyway, that's for specifically for modern space and interstellar. And then I also want to keep in mind about the health region. Health region is okay if you have like over 20%. So if you don't want to do lifesteal and you just want to do health regen, try to aim for around 20 to 30% because anything less than that, it's not going to make a significant difference. If you want to do maybe like 15% health regen and like 15-20% lifesteal, that could work together, but typically lifesteal and health regen are kind of like the exact opposite of each other, right? Like if you don't have good double chance or attack speed, then take advantage of health regen. Now, what I do want to talk about is more about health regen. Health regen and block chance works perfect together. So for example, if you have like a very good block chance, then more than likely the mobs or the enemies are going to attack you like um, not as often as, like, what it would be normally, so you'll have more time to have the health regen heal you up. So hopefully that made sense, but say your block chance is, like, 20% and your health regen's, like, 30%, but you have, like, no life steal, barely any double chance, barely any, like, attack speed, then you're most likely gonna your survivability is gonna be super high, so that's something to consider, but it's not really recommended. If you, do get a ton of block chance, then try to get health regen. If you do have a ton of health regen, to try to get some block chance because both of these stats work great together. Also, what I want to talk about is the melee and range damage. These are not as bad as most people say, but typically you want to avoid them because the other substats just honestly they work better. Um, Melee, they go up to 50%, range, they go up to 15%, so your overall power will go up like crazy if you have melee, or if you go for melee damage. Your range damage won't really go far high up, but typically people stay away from like, or people are forced to use both of these stats if you have like the double stuff. So, but yeah, we'll talk about that kind of later on. This video is going to be a little bit longer than normal, so just try to stay tuned. Yeah, we're doing good on okay, yeah. So anyway, next thing I want to talk about is the base damage. So base damage is like just overall damage, but typically you want to stay away from this because it's not going to help you that much. People are like only getting this because they're forced to with the double stuff stats, but like I said, if you're on modern, space, or interstellar, then typically you don't really want that. So the next thing I want to talk about is the skill damage and skill cooldown. So with both of these substats, it's really only beneficial to take advantage of both skill damage and skill cooldown when you have the legendary skills, right? If you have the epic skills and you're going for a lot of skill damage, it's just not going to help you as much. But say you have the meteorite and you have the bomb, then typically you're going to have a ton of the the multiverse gear. So when you have the multiverse gear, like that's why I said modern space and interstellar, they go together. But once you start getting multiverse, then you should be able to get the legendary skills. And when you get the legendary skills, then you can start going for the skill damage and skill cooldown. So both of those work perfect together. Skill cooldown, you're probably gonna need like at least 20 something percent because typically like it's not going to make a significant difference if it's like less than 15%. And then skill damage you can stack that pretty high, the max is 30, so hopefully you can get like around 100% or even more than 100% skill damage. Typically people with the legendary skills, and only do this with legendary skills by the way, if you have epic stuff and ultimate gear like skills, it's just not gonna be beneficial where you're at. So when you get the multiverse forge, then you can start getting this legendary skills, and then you can start going for skill damage and skill cooldown. Some people manage to get like 300% skill damage with just literally every piece of gear that they had gave them skill damage. So that's something to consider doing. If you could, then do it. You're literally gonna one-shot people with the bombs and meteorites in like your silver league or whatever league you're at. So that's something to consider. But for the most part, around the 150% is like a lot of skill damage, and if you can, 20% is a lot of skill cooldown. So that's what I would do. That's the only substats that I would take advantage of is if you have legendary skills. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is, or the last thing I guess, is the crit chance and crit damage. This is only recommended for double substats, right? Like if you're in multiverse, if you're in interstellar space, modern, all that stuff, it's not going to help you at all. Even with legendary pets and you're not in quantum yet, do not go for the skill damage or skill chance because it's not going to help you at all. Only get the skill chance or the chance and the damage for crits if you have quantum, right? Then start going for both of those because as soon as you get that, then you're gonna have way more opportunities to like get more substats and those crit damages and crit chances are gonna help like crazy. Typically, you want above 30% crit chance for actually or for it to be actually significant, and then crit damage maybe preferably over 200%, but it's really just kind of a grind to go for like good ones. So that's what I would recommend there. Crit chance and crit damage is super OP. So yeah, take advantage of that, but only when you get to quantum gear. And then get to quantum gear, then go for all of this, right? Crit damage, crit chance, double chance, life steal, and attack speed. All of those work perfect together. The life steal, like pretty much quadruples if your chance and crit damage is high, and you just heal like basically full health from nothing. If you have a double chance, then you can get a double crit, and that's kind of OP. And then attack speed just helps you with like pretty much everything. So all of those are gonna help a lot. If you have a melee build, then try to take advantage of some melee damage. Typically, it's going to take a while, but yeah, typically that's going to take a while. So going for quantum gear is going to suck. If you guys are curious, this is kind of what I'm running. Let's just, yeah, kind of show it. So yeah, my crit chance is around 20%. That's pretty low. It's not significant, and I'm trying to get better ones. That's kind of actually, honestly, the only thing I'm going for. It's really hard with quantum gear. I'm not gonna lie. Like I've low key been struggling, but crit chance is around 20. Crit damage is actually pretty high. It's around 336, so that's pretty good. Lifesteal is low, 30% is not really good. Double chance is 126%, so it's above 100%. But because it's above 100%, that means that I can pretty much like remove something else that gives me double chance. Like if I get like a, I don't know, like let's see, what do I have on everything? Okay, I guess that's kind of awkward. Um, I don't know. It's okay because now I can get rid of like 20 something percent or 30% double chance and be okay. So I'm still trying to get better gear, and then my attack speed is actually pretty high, 178. I have some range damage, and then the melee damage comes from pets. All of my pets, like, besides this one, but it's only a legendary, is pretty good. My mythic pet sucks. Like this is just terrible, and then my ultimate pet is not the best. The attack speed is very low, so that's kind of what I'm running there. But substats, it's just kind of a grind, especially when you get to quantum. So just try to like just grind it out and just try not to give up, I guess, because it can get pretty annoying. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the max tier that you should get. So this is pretty much everything max item substats. Crit damage goes up to 12, or chance goes up to 12, damage goes up to 100, attack speed and double chance is both 40%. Damage is only 15, so yeah, like I said, it's not very significant. Skill damage is 30. If you can get it like above a 25%, that's when I would take skill damage and try to use that for when you have legendary skills. Range damage is only 15, but the melee damage is 50. If you can stack up like maybe 150 to 200% melee damage, that would make it significant enough to beat a bunch of range players. Um, if you can, if you just have like better stats, I guess. But and then block is only 5% and region is only 6%. So it kind of sucks because both of those are very low and you kind of need like a decent amount of both of those for it to be worth it. Life steal is 20% and then cooldown is 7% or skill cooldown is 7%. So it sucks, but I mean that's just kind of how it is. You're gonna have to grind out the best. Like I would typically take whatever is above 50%, but if you have double substats, then it's just a grind. Like sometimes it's gonna be life steal is like 5%, but I don't know, crit chance is 12%, right? And you would definitely take that because one of them is pretty much maxed, and then the other one just kind of sucks. So that's kind of how it is. But hopefully you guys can get lucky and get the best substats. But for the most part, it's just gonna take a while. So anyway, back to the game. I would say the fastest way to progress through this to get double substats is, well, first of all, you're gonna want legendary pets, and legendary pets are the first ways to get the double substats. I have a ton, but yeah, as you can pretty much see, oh, the health region is 6%. Is that max? Yeah, that's max. That's kind of funny to see. But going for two good ones is kind of hard, right? Like this one's actually not bad, but the overall damage is just not worth it. Even though it's basically max and double chance is close to max, this is just not that worth it, right? Like I would rather use this. If we look at others, yeah, crit damage is pretty much max, but the damage is basically zero. It's not worth. Crit damage is very low, life steal's above halfway. So yeah, just take a look at all these pets if you want to like pause the video as you're looking through them. But for the most part, it just sucks getting good ones. Except this one's a very good one, so that's good to know. This one's not bad, but I don't need attack speed or life steal. I'd rather take crit damage there. And then this pet really just sucks, but it helps with like, yeah, look at this, like 38.5 million. That's just from one pet. That is pretty OP, so gonna take advantage of using that. But that's it for this step stats video. It's kind of an in-depth version of the one I made before, so hopefully that made sense, and hopefully you guys can take advantage of all of that. And yeah, I want to show this again. Just screenshot it, share it with the I don't know, share it with everyone. Share it because a lot of people ask about it. But that's it for this video. Anyway, if you guys are interested, I do have channel memberships and it supports the channel a lot. So definitely take advantage of that if you can. I would greatly appreciate that. Also, if you watch the videos all the way through, and that helps the channel a lot too. So thank you for watching. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video.